Good morning. Happy Monday, beginning of the week. Happy Monday, beginning of the week. Hi there, it's Linda from Go for the Joy on a dreary Monday morning in BC. We had a fabulous weekend. My son came down to visit with his partner and their new baby boy. He's almost 9 months old now, my new grandson. And he wasn't feeling that great, and so kind of kept us awake at night. And then he'd be a happy little camper most of the day. I tell you, children are so willing to be in the moment, so willing to allow their attention to be pulled to something better. Right? Oh, we could take. It's a good lesson for all of us. How easily you can steer him away, his attention, his that little crying face, into something, smiles and laughter. He's like, oh yes, that over there, another shiny thing. So, and we had him at a darts garden on 16th in our area that I'd never been in before because it was always closed, and I was never stuck in traffic to see what the hours were. And Hillary saw the hours and she said, let's go there. So we went there. Beautiful place. If you haven't gone, go. It's open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 10 to 4. And it's been donated by the people that own that property. And now it's got all these beautiful plants in it and paths that just wander through everything. It's truly very, very lovely. And I was saying to my son how lovely it is that what a legacy to have left, because we have no idea of the importance of that property in terms of the insects and the bees. There are lots of bees buzzing around and birds and the plants. We have no idea of the full importance of that particular piece of property, which I would imagine would be, I don't know for sure, I'm going to guess maybe 5 acres, maybe bigger. I don't really know for certain. Anyway, that was a lovely visit there. And then the other thing was I told them I would look after their dog Zach, who's big black lug of a guy, who's probably about 10 now, slowed down a lot. They got him from the SPCA. He was found wandering on the street, and he's was a very reactive dog. Mostly not anymore, but which is why I said they asked if we would take them whilst they went to Toronto for 2 weeks to her mother's cottage, and I said yeah. After some thought, I said yes. So anyway, this weekend I took him for a walk. And there was a dog in a car, a husky in the car barking. And Zach just about pulled me off my feet. I couldn't stop him. To get over to that car, jumped on that car, and like I'm pulling him off. And there's a young woman in the car, and she's like comes out. I pulled him off, and we weren't right next to the car. We were over. Like we were over the other side of the road. There's no sidewalks there. And she said, your dog scratched my car. And I'm like, first, it's not my dog, it's my son's dog. And then I said, what can I do to fix this? And she looked at, and so we got 2 dogs barking. And she said, what? I said, what can I do to fix this? And I think she thought I was being sarcastic or something. I said, I'm sorry, what can I do to fix this? And she was a little taken aback. And then she said, nothing, forget it. I got her 2 weeks ago, and just forget it. Better go. So we left, and I came home, and I said, I can't do that because I can't stop him. I can when I'm prepared. So I know if there's another dog, if there's a loose dog, there's another dog, I know what to do to prepare myself for him. How to wrap the leash so that I've got total control over him. I didn't see that dog in the car. And I didn't really hear that dog in the car until it was too late. It wasn't a fun experience, let me tell you. And yeah, so I said, I'm sorry, I can't. I just can't. So that was that story. So here I am. See, I got my Roots sweatshirt on. Maybe I should have had my Roots sweatshirt on. Would have been grounded. Grounded. And then he wouldn't have been able to drag me across the road. Oh my. And I took my shoes off when we were in Dart's Garden to walk on the grass to ground myself. I love having bare feet in the grass. So, in these times, it's very important to be grounded. And when I took River, my grandson, out in the our patio, and sat him down, there was a breeze, so the wind chimes were singing, and the water sprinkler system was on, so the sound of the water, and the water was glistening off the tree, it was dripping down, and he just sat there and he looked over at the chimes and over at the sprinklers, and then would look at me, very quiet and very grounded. So it's the message. The message is to ground yourself, root yourself onto this planet right now, because there is so much change unfolding, and it's unfolding very rapidly. And I'm hearing that it is unfolding rapidly because we are ready. The planet is so ready for this change. The people on this planet, there's a tipping point that's happening. And so with that tipping point, the changes are going to roll out very, 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 very quickly. And it will be discombobulating. I think, yeah, that's a nice word. Discombobulating for some people. And other people won't notice it so much, though they may feel it more than actually notice any of the changes going on. But they'll feel a little off-center and a little anxious and a little confused, because all this energy is anxiety making. Even if you don't do social media, let me tell you, the energy is such with the people, unless you're in the middle of nowhere, you're going to be very aware of the energies. Your body will be aware of the energies. So it's very important to ground yourself, root yourself into the earth. Feed on grass when you can. Feed on grass, out in nature. Any of the practices that ground you into the present moment, into your life, is good. Okay, so with that, let's pick some cards. Some cards. I did a lot of dreaming last night. It's a full moon coming up. Very vivid dreams. I had my sister-in-law showed up again, and she passed a couple of years ago. And I said, "Oh, I get to physically hug you now." And then I dreamed with an old car in, and that I parked and was trying to find it. Very old car that I had quite a long while ago. And a river where I was going to drive this car down the river to Canoe. I think it was Canoe. I had a dream with my neighbor. She has one cat, and I went and she had multiple cats in there. I mean, I tell you, it was an alternate reality. It was another timeline, I think, that I was living in, because there were all these parts and pieces that were so flipping clear. My eldest son was in it. So are you having wild dreams too? So Michelle's just got on, and Michelle goes, "I'm jittery this afternoon." I bet you are, Michelle, living in Florida. And she's in Florida, so it's afternoon there, and it's still morning in the Pacific Northwest. So let's pick some cards for everyone. Because I'm hearing that, oh, I don't know. I'm just hearing this week's going to be a doozy, and I have no idea what that means. I don't know what that means. But we shall see. The week's just started. It's Memorial Day, so it's a little bit quieter for everyone, where there's a holiday going on down in the U.S. We had ours last weekend. They're having theirs this weekend. So a little bit quieter as people just enjoying time with their family and perhaps out there camping and hiking and doing their stuff down in the U.S. Picnicking. I imagine there's going to be some big fireworks, right? There we go. So, I like this card. It's look forward. And there we go. Look forward. And there's a castle. I should move this. Hang on, I'm just going to move this back a bit. So, look forward. There's a castle with two people on at the top in the top turret, and they've got binoculars. No, one's got a binocular and the woman doesn't. She's just looking out. And there's a bit of a breeze blowing because her ponytail's blowing backwards. So looking forward. So looking forward into the future. So, and the castle's up. There's clouds up there. So there's a, oh, thank you, a bigger, broader perspective, a higher perspective. Because you're at the top of the turret looking out to see what's going on. And you're looking forward to, so how about, is this anxiety or is this anticipation? See, our body doesn't always know the difference between excitement and anxiety. So what we take to be anxiety is sometimes just a feeling, an anticipation that something really cool is going to happen. So, yeah, hi, Michelle's going very vivid dreams as well. So just check in and see, and we tend to mix those two things up. So as we are looking forward into the future, anticipating the wonderful things but we don't know what those wonderful things are, so it may feel like anxiety because we're in a place of not knowing how it's all going to fall out, right, as things are shifting. And we've got King Charles visiting Canada today to open up our parliament, and also sending a message down to the US that the UK, that we are part of the, my words are, thanks guys, now they're in. We are part of that, and as part of that, there's a message being sent that we are part of something. Canada's part of something bigger, and we don't stand on our own. So that message is down to the president down in the U.S., who seems to have a thing for royalty. Because he wants to be royal. He wants to be the king of this country. He's becoming increasingly strange. How about I put it like that? Increasingly strange in what he talks about. He was at West Point. All of this is for entertainment purposes, allegedly. Down at West Point doing a speech for West Point. So it was odd. Not your typical commencement speech that says, rah, rah, go forward into the world, you brave young souls. It was not that. So you kind of think, what's going on with this man? He's certainly not the man he was 20 years ago. And yet, and then he has delusions of kingly delusions. So reevaluate your priorities. I wonder if he's doing that. I wonder if he's reevaluating his priorities. But there's a watering can there and a fire, and there's a woman standing there. And so this card is asking us, asking you, asking me to reevaluate our priorities. What is important? This is important to remember. What is important? So know that you have access to water to put out the fires, right? It's there. You have whatever it takes to put out the fires. So reevaluate your priorities. And we talked about this, I think it was last week, is like get clear on what's important in your life. And then be willing to let go of what is unimportant, or to realize where it lies on the priority list. Does it lie at the top? Does it lie at the bottom? Right? Just going out for dinner once a week lie at the top of your priority list, or is it slid way down? Because there are things that are more important in terms of perhaps buying groceries, perhaps allowing yourself a coffee treat. These are just examples, right? So reevaluate your priorities, because as we going into a time of big change, there will be a shuffling of, I'm hearing, monetary around the world. And as that happens, because you know what the stock markets hate? Instability. Hate instability, which is why Canada's doing so well right now with our bonds and stuff, because we've got a world-class economist at our helm. But that doesn't mean that what is happening south of us, that America was considered the shining light on the hill, like that it was the gold standard for the world, the leader of the free world. And that is changing right now. It's changing because people can't trust the man at the helm and the administration and what they say. It's like, I saw a little cartoon with tariffs on, tariffs off. There's a light switch on, off. It's going to be going on June 9th. No, we'll stretch it to July 9th now. So that's the instability that stock markets do not like. And at some point, maybe they'll ignore all that and just kind of look at a kind of a broader picture. But meanwhile, that affects the economy. That affects, okay, thank you. That affects how people spend their money, because they don't know what's going on, right? So then they pull back and they think, well, I need to save my money because I don't know what's going to happen. And that's a smart thing to do. But meanwhile, that affects the economy when retail slows down. And I think I'm seeing a bit of that up here in terms of some of the sales going on. I'm thinking, why are there such big sales going on right now? So I think that's a way of, moving product, because it's slow, and it's slow, I think, probably slow up here, but probably much slower down the US than it is up here. So when there's no confidence in the economy and the market, then people pull back and they tighten the purse strings, as it were, and you think twice about how you're spending your money. And then that is what trickles down. Trickle down economy is what's going on right now with what's the policies and the actions of this administration. That's the trickle down that's slowing everything down, right? The previous President Biden believed in trickle up. Grow it at the bottom, and then it will go up, which is what it does when you feel secure in your job and you feel secure in the economy and everything. Then the purse strings open up. You've got a job, you start spending money, you maybe get a bigger house. All of this stuff, that's trickle up. What's going on right now, though they call it trickle down, it isn't. Though what they were trying to accomplish. They call it trickle down, but no, it is trickling down. It's trickling down in a not a good way. Does that make sense to you? I think it does. Okay, Michelle says she's having very vivid dreams too. I bet a lot of people are, if you're paying attention. I had so many different timeline stories going on, dreams going on. I wake up 3 times a night. So we've got reevaluate your priorities, look forward, reevaluate your priorities. So look and see kind of the landscape, the broader perspective out there. This won't go on forever. It's just change. Change that's happening. And change can be scary, especially if you're not prepared for it. Especially if you're not prepared for it. You want to reevaluate priorities so you know how you will manage what's going to come, right? So maybe you tighten your purse strings a little bit. Not forever. Not forever. Just for now. And give yourself a little bit of a cushion if you can. Nothing wrong with a little bit of a cushion. So you can kind of have a feeling of comfort there. Shine your light. So my beautiful people out there. Michelle's talking about things are very tight for her. A lot of people struggle in extreme ways on all levels, very uncertain future in the economy. And that's the environment that is being created south of us, more so than up in Canada. So shine your light, because as you're listening to this, there's some part of you that understands what I'm saying, that needs a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of allowance, and a little bit of permission to shine your light, to understand that you know all this. You know all this at a level. And so hopefully this will bubble up stuff within you so you can shine your light for the other people, so that you can become more comfortable where you are, right? And some of you may have done all that you can, but there's always just that little bit more, and maybe in a way you hadn't thought about before. If you thought about everything, then kudos to you. Meanwhile, shine that beautiful light, because what happens when you shine your light, then the universe goes, oh, look at that. Everyone's kind of going, nice. Look at her smiling. Look at her being happy. And then the universe ends up delivering in ways you wouldn't expect at all. Not at all. Not at all. And sometimes it's not always money falling in your lap. Maybe it's, I made all this food and I don't need this much. I went to Costco and geez, I overbought and I don't have room for this. Do you want some of this? No, I don't need you to pay for it. You know, that kind of thing. You have no idea how the universe will reward you shining your light. You just don't. So one more, my sweets. And then we'll end this for the day. I've got this computer sitting on top of books, and what caught my eye was Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown. Beautiful book. Which kind of goes with a book I'm reading called North of Normal, which is about a young woman that was brought up in teepees with her grandfather, grandmother, mother, sisters, really living in a teepee, hunting for food, pretty basic stuff, and the oddness of her family that she thought was normal, north of normal. So it shows how we get used to environments we are in, right? Get used to the environments, and that as when we're young, that's just normal. That's just the way it is, and we don't think twice about it. We think it's just the way it is. Turns out that after she went to a therapist, the therapist goes, that's really not normal. And it took her a long time to come to terms with the oddness of it, because it was the family dynamics were not normal. You know, the way of life was definitely different, but it was the family dynamics that weren't normal, and they weren't healthy. So, they were braving the wilderness, that's for sure. So, in some ways, we're all braving the wilderness, because the wilderness is that which we do not know, right? We don't know what's ahead of us. And every new experience, some of them like a death of a partner, can thrust us into a landscape we are not familiar with. Bankruptcy thrust you into something that you are not familiar with and you don't have the skills to deal with. So having a lot of money and suddenly not having a lot of money, even if you're not bankrupt, it's still like thrusting you into a landscape that you're not familiar with, and that's braving the wilderness. And that requires a lot of strength, the ability to shift and reevaluate your priorities, look forward, figure out, okay, what's next? What can I do? Right? Right. Okay. One more card. Raise your vibration. So shine your light, raise your vibration. So raise your vibration. Some of that we talked about. Grounding, feet on the grass, meditation, listening to your favorite music, being around your favorite people, being with your animals that make you smile and laugh. Do what, be willing, as my grandson is, to shift into a happier place easily and quickly. So he is fortunate that he has people, his mom and dad and his grandma and granddad doing that for him. As soon as he starts to cry and not be a happy camper, everyone wants to be there to help him, soothe him. However, adults don't really get that. And sometimes you have people wanting to soothe you, and you're like, leave me alone, because I don't want that. Why don't you know what I want? Right? It can be irritating. So you have to figure this out. You have to raise your own vibration. You have to figure this out for yourself. And no one can do it for you. You're the only one. There are tools. There are YouTube videos for meditation. There's lots and lots of inspirational stuff on YouTube. There are wonderful books to read, like Braving the Wilderness, Happier Than God, Neal Donald Walsch. I'm just looking at what I've got here. Love, Life, God, The Journey, Creation by Gerard Hewitt. Notes from the Universe, Mike Dooley. I read these years ago. I've kept them, and sometimes I'll pick them up and just kind of open them up the page and do a bit of an I Ching. What's the message for today? That's what I do. Much like the cards. Okay. And yeah, one more card. Quickie. Quietly serve. Many of you are doing this already. So quietly serving is, you just help out where you can. And that, okay, thank you. So this card's pulled to as an appreciation and a thank you for all of you out there that are quietly serving, doing your bit, being your wonderful self, making people smile, letting them know they're magnificent as well, as I'm letting you know that you are magnificent beings of light and love, period. No ands, ifs, and buts. There is no, there's no payment to be made to be living on planet Earth. You are worthy just for being you. That's all. You're worthy just for being you. So, I think I'm going onto Facebook, and I'm going to find, oh no, I'm not going onto Facebook. I'm going on to something else. From Matt Kahn. And this was, some weeks are about doing more. This week is about doing less and noticing more. It's a chance to slow down, just enough to hear yourself think and feel what's true underneath the noise. You might feel a quiet nudge to realign your schedule, clear your mind, or say no to something that no longer fits. It's important stuff. That's not resistance, that's wisdom. You're being guided to pause, reflect, and reconnect with what matters most. This week isn't asking you to have all the answers. It's simply offering space for you to get clear, not just in your to-do list, but in how you think, how you speak, and how you move forward. Let this be a week of thoughtful progress, the kind that begins with stillness. So, how lovely was that? Matt Kahn. You can find him. I will put that in links. Matt Kahn is on YouTube, and he has a couple of books out. Lovely man, very gentle. So that's all, folks. Yada yada. That's all. So I hope you have a wonderful day. And you're welcome, Michelle. And that everyone enjoys wherever they are and whatever moment they're in, being their beautiful selves that they are. And shine your light. Okay, take care. Linda from Go for the Joy, and you definitely find a way to do that because that's how we add to the world. Okay, take care. Love you all. Bye.